This week, Kathy and I are camping, so we thought we'd invite you to come along with us and see what we do on our holidays. Kathy introduced me to camping, and we've been camping almost every year since we got married. And camping's a great way to get away from it all, as long as you can get into a local town and get online. So for me, I'm okay with camping as long as I can have an internet connection within a short drive. But when Ruth, our daughter, who's now 24, when she was 1, we introduced her to camping. We thought this is a great family event, and we wanted her to get used to it from when she was a young child. So at our first night camping with Ruth, we opened the doors to the car, and Kathy and I started to set up the trailer. And Ruth started to explore. Now you see, Ruth, in her very short life, only knew our home, her playpen, and the church nursery department. So when she got to the campsite, there was so much to see, so much to explore. And unbeknownst to us, she thought the most interesting thing on our campsite was the fire pit. So while we were setting up the camper, she went straight to the fire pit and saw all those interesting, tasty morsels sitting there that needed to be tasted. She, for some reason, thought they were chocolate. So she started to eat all of the charcoal in the fire pit. And while we were setting up the camper, in the very short time that we weren't looking, she stuffed her face with all the garbage that was in the fire pit. Well, when I turned around and saw what she was doing, then I called out to Kathy, and we, of course, were horrified. We were new parents. This was our firstborn, and she was now filling her mouth with the most toxic substances in the campground. So, of course, we grabbed her, turned her upside down, and I dug all the charcoal out of her mouth and smeared it on her brand new light pink camping outfit that Kathy had just got. And of course, it was black, she was black, the outfit was ruined, could never be worn again. And then we washed out her mouth and figured, what has she just eaten? I, of course, am a doctor, so I was thinking of all the diseases and the bacteria and all the horrible things that she has just ingested. She's only 1, she has very little immunity, it's her first camping trip. We were very nervous. So we set up camp and waited for her to get sick, and waited, and waited. And you guessed it, nothing happened. She was completely fine the rest of the camping trip. So what did we learn from that? Well, the thing we learned at that time was, don't let Ruth out of her car seat until the camper is completely up. So we learned to lock her into the car seat until we were done. And then after she's out of her car seat, keep her in her playpen. It's the only way to take kids camping. But now as we look back many years later, I think the lesson that we learned was, children need to experience life for themselves. You can't protect kids from everything. So you do the best you can to protect them from the biggest risks, but some things kids just have to experience for themselves. Ruth is now 24, and we have a 21-year-old son as well. And we've learned that as they get older, they just have to be let go, and you just trust God to protect them. So every day, we just turn them over to God, ask for His protection as they experience life for themselves. So to live a transformed life, you learn to need to let go of your kids and let them experience life for themselves. Trust God to protect them. Now I want to hear from you. What lessons have you learned from your kids? Just leave your comments in the box below. And if this is your first visit here, then you need to get my free self-assessment guide, and which you can get by filling out my email subscription form, which, even though we're camping, is still right there. And so you just fill that out, and we'll send you our free email subscription every week. So I'll talk to you again next week when we're back from camping.